闪阵雨，记得带伞。
我回来了。
Xiaomi. Xiaomi. Xiaomi.
Are traditional commands necessary in a truly intelligent world? In our smart ecosystem, cars will understand you and meet your needs with flexibility and versatility. Devices will adapt to your wants and flow as you wish. Homes are not just a home, but a space to infinite possibilities. Proactive and responsive. Operating system will anticipate and serve your every intent. This is the future that we are developing for you. A life where Xiaomi EV and over 600 million devices move as you wish, completing the human, car, home smart ecosystem. Xiaomi Hyper OS.
Xiaomi. Xiaomi.
今天多云转阵雨，记得带伞。
我回来了。
Xiaomi. Xiaomi. Xiaomi.
Are traditional commands necessary in a truly intelligent world? In our smart ecosystem, cars will understand you and meet your needs with flexibility and versatility. Devices will adapt to your wants and flow as you wish. Homes are not just a home, but a space to infinite possibilities. Proactive and responsive. Operating system will anticipate and serve your every intent. This is the future that we are developing for you. A life where Xiaomi EV and over 600 million devices move as you wish, completing the human, car, home smart ecosystem. Xiaomi Hyper OS.
Xiaomi. Xiaomi.
今天多云转阵雨，记得带伞。
我回来了。
Xiaomi. Xiaomi. Xiaomi.
Are traditional commands necessary in a truly intelligent world? In our smart ecosystem, cars will understand you and meet your needs with flexibility and versatility. Devices will adapt to your wants and flow as you wish. Homes are not just a home, but a space to infinite possibilities. Proactive and responsive. Operating system will anticipate and serve your every intent. This is the future that we are developing for you. A life where Xiaomi EV and over 600 million devices move as you wish, completing the human, car, home smart ecosystem. Xiaomi Hyper OS.
Xiaomi. Xiaomi.
今天多云转阵雨，记得带伞。
我回来了。
Xiaomi. Xiaomi. Xiaomi.
Are traditional commands necessary in a truly intelligent world? In our smart ecosystem, cars will understand you and meet your needs with flexibility and versatility. Devices will adapt to your wants and flow as you wish. Homes are not just a home, but a space to infinite possibilities. Proactive and responsive. Operating system will anticipate and serve your every intent. This is the future that we are developing for you. A life where Xiaomi EV and over 600 million devices move as you wish, completing the human, car, home smart ecosystem. Xiaomi Hyper OS.
Xiaomi. Xiaomi.
今天多云转阵雨，记得带伞。
我回来了。
Xiaomi. Xiaomi. Xiao.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. This is my 5th annual speech. I've seen a lot of friends on site here, and there are many other friends joining us online. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you. On the 28th March, Xiaomi SU7 was officially launched. It became a hit that was beyond our expectation. Overnight, it became a phenomenal bestseller. The past 3 months, every day it was like a dream. Thinking about the past 1,000 days and nights, Xiaomi EV experienced so many ups and downs. Perhaps many of you know that Xiaomi EV actually started by accident. It was on the 15th January 2021 at 7 a.m. on my way to work. I got a phone call from my friend. He said that, Mr. Lei, you are under sanction by the US government. At that moment, it was a huge shock. Very quickly, we held an emergency board meeting and discussed our response. And in that board meeting, a board member asked, if you cannot make smartphones, what about the 30 and 40,000 employees of Xiaomi? Indeed, if we can no longer make smartphones, what about the 30 and 40,000 employees of Xiaomi? And one board member suggested that perhaps you should consider making cars. That day, in the afternoon, it was the first time for us to have a serious discussion about car making. Basically, all the executives are in support of this, but I thought car making, the risk is too big, and we need to do a very serious and careful investigation. Therefore, we formed a team of 6 people. In 70 days, we went to 10 cities. And sometimes we went to the city in the morning and then came back in the evening. And we had 85 interviews with over 200 people. And in this process, we also had 4 executive meetings. In this process, 2 friends of mine have been suggesting me strongly that we should make cars. They are Li Bing and He Xiaopeng. Honestly speaking, when I write my script, I thought they suggest that I should make cars. What is good in this for them? Aren't they afraid of another competitors in their own industry? I've been thinking, perhaps they're just thinking for me, for the good of Xiaomi. So, as the investigation goes on, more and more, I felt that smart EV is an unstoppable trend. Therefore, on the 24th March, when we report to the board, I said, smart EV is a mega trend, and the car industry is being integrated with the consumer electronics industry. Therefore, I think Xiaomi must be involved in this. At the same time, I also raised my concern. Well, the automobile industry, just like the smartphone industry, where winner takes all, maybe in the end only 5 to 8 companies can survive in the world. If we cannot become top 5 in the world, we won't be able to survive in the car industry. Therefore, if we want to build cars, we have to be prepared for a protracted war, and we have to become the top 5 in the world. That means we need to invest a huge amount of money in it, and we believe we need at least $10 billion. After heated discussion by our board members, they gave me a positive answer. They are in support of Xiaomi EV. However, because the investment was too huge, so Lei Jun must be the lead of this project. Honestly speaking, I never expect that the board will have such a requirement. The next few days were very struggling for me. It was also an eventful time for Xiaomi. At that time, we were listed 2 years ago, and the entire company was transforming from a guerrilla force to a regular army. So it was very struggling. And the high-end strategy for our smartphone business just kicked off. So many things are happening at the same time. And at that point of time, a young executive we have cultivated for years and we have given high hope to also quit it. It was a shock for me. And that young executive is Zhou Shouzhi. But still, I gave him my best wishes, even though I don't want him to leave. So, in such an eventful time, with all things happening at the same time, it was a mess in my mind. And at that time, I need to think whether we should build cars or not, and should I take the lead in this project. It was not easy. Every night, when I finally made up my mind to do something big, then the second day in the morning when the sun rises, I become confused once again. I keep asking myself, if entrepreneurship is so difficult and so painful, do I really want to do it once again? And the risk is big. What if I fail? Will my life just end up with a failure? And do I really have enough energy to really fight my way into a brand new industry for me? All these questions are haunting me, and I thought about them for a week. It was a struggling week for me. And on the 30th March, I officially replied the board that if Xiaomi must do it, if everybody thinks that I am the right person, then for Xiaomi, I would love to do it. It is not an action on impulse, nor a stopgap. It is the result of my 70-day contemplation. At that time, there is only one sentence in my mind. Although tens of thousands may stand in my way, I will continue to forge ahead. Even though tens of thousands of people might question me or stand in my way, I will still be determined and forge ahead. That day, we officially announced that Xiaomi will build cars and Lei Jun will take the lead. In 10 years' time, we're going to invest $10 billion. So Xiaomi EV and $10 billion investment. This news is an earthquake to the industry. That night, we held a press conference. Actually, that day I was not in good shape. I was sick, seriously. I couldn't even talk. But on the stage, I never give myself any retreat. I said firmly that this will be my one last entrepreneurship, and I would love to bet all my reputations and achievements and fight for Xiaomi EV. At that time on site, I still remember the thunderous applause, and people gave me a lot of support and encouragement. And online, people are saying, defeat our competitors. At that moment, I felt a whirlpool of emotions.
那天晚上
That night
是我们小米的不眠之夜。
was a sleepless night for Xiaomi. It was also a sleepless night for the car industry.
我收到了很多的信息。
I got a lot of messages.
最打动我的一条呢
One that touched me most was a message I got at 5 a.m. I got a message from a colleague.
他叫刘安玉，
He's
是
Liu
小
Anyu.
米早期的创业
He
者。
was
37
one of the early
号
entrepreneurs of Xiaomi, our number 37 employee. And since his childhood, he has been obsessed with cars. He thought he will never have the luck to
他
build a
业余
car.
时间
And in his spare
自己
time,
传了一辆大房
he
车
built
来
an
过夜。
RV for himself just for fun.
那天呢，他正好在广州出
That
差，
day, he was on a business trip in
看
Guangzhou,
了我们自己的
and
直
he
播发
watched
布会
the launch event. He was so excited.
当即拿着几个同事
Immediately,
到珠江边喝
he
酒
took a couple of colleagues to drink by the Zhujiang River, and
就
after
在江
that,
边走了整整
they
一
also
晚。
they walked by the Zhujiang River the whole night. Then at 5 a.m., he finally made up his mind. He would never miss this opportunity. Therefore, he sent me a message
只要让他参与，
saying
干
that
什么都
as
行。
long as he can be part of this project, he would love to do anything.
那一夜，
That
彻夜难眠的
night
还有很
was
多人。
also a sleepless night for many others. For example, Li Tianyuan.
他当时呢在宝马德国总部，
He was at
负责
the BMW German
这
headquarters,
辆
responsible
车的
for
设计
the design of iX.
他算是在欧洲混得很不错的
And
中国
he
设计师。
was a renowned Chinese designer
小米
in
的发布
Europe,
会深深
and
地
Xiaomi's
震撼
launch event shocked him greatly. So he started to think about joining Xiaomi.
各位想一想，
Think about
对
it,
每一个人
everyone.
来说，
For
放
everybody
弃宝马总部
to
的工
give
作，
up his job at BMW headquarters and leave the comfortable life in Europe and persuade your family to come back to China. This is never an easy decision.
但是
But
他依然果断辞职，
still,
收拾行李
he quit his
举家
job,
回
get
国
packed,
投
and
身
take
到
his whole family
小米
back to
汽车的
China and
创业
dedicate
中
himself to Xiaomi EV business.
还有胡真南，
Moreover, Hu Zhengnan,
他之前2次拜访过小米，
he visited Xiaomi
发布
twice.
后的
And
一
after
个
the
晚上
launch events,
他给我打电话
one
说
night he called me. He said
他造车20多年，
that he has been in the car industry for 20 years. He worked in the public company, he worked in the private company. He also started his own business. His contract with the employer is about to due, and he would love to come out and see how an internet company builds
后
cars.
来他加入了
Then
顺伟，
he joined
再后
Shunwei
来
Capital.
他兼任了
Later
我
on,
的顾
he
问
became my advisor.
就这样，
So,
一群热爱汽车
a
的人
group of people who have profound love to cars come together from
我
around the
们在
world.
短短的半年之间的时间里面，
In just
就组
half
成了
a
超
year,
过1000人
we
的团
formed
队。
a team of over
在过去
1,000
3年多
people.
的时间里
In the
面，
past 3
我们
years,
汽车部门已经超过了7000人。
our Xiaomi EV
而且更
department
难
has
能可贵的
over
是，
7,000 people. And
我们聚集了
more
超过
importantly,
1000位的技术专家。
we have gathered over 1,000 technology
所以
experts.
那个发布会
Therefore,
对我们组建
that
团队起了
launch
非常大的
event
作用。
played a very
前几天
important
晚
role
上
for us
我
to
们的
build
HR
the
部门
team.
算了一下，
The other day, I asked our HR team to count. In 3 years, we have received over 380,000 applications. And still, I want to say that we always welcome excellent engineers to join Xiaomi EV's team, and we want to become a global top 5 car company. And to this end, we need more excellent people and talents. Xiaomi EV has caused great social influence.
我的一群企业家朋友们呢，也特别的关心。
Some of my entrepreneurs friends are really concerned, and on April the 5th, they came to Xiaomi together with a lot of questions in their minds. And those questions were mostly concentrated on 2 issues. Number 1,
你们现在才下场，是不是太
is it
晚？
already too late for you to go into the business of car making?
确实啊，3年多前造
Indeed.
车和新势力相比，晚了6-7
Manufacturing
年。
cars 3 years ago were like 6 to 7 years late.
我说，
But I
智
answered,
能化才是汽车的灵
intelligence
魂。
is the soul of cars. And in the EV era, intelligence is just the beginning. Besides, for cars, it's a channel of 100 years. As long as you truly love it and you truly want to do a good job, I think any time is the best time. And they carried with them more questions. The second question was, then, why don't Xiaomi go to the market independently? Many people, whenever hearing the word of going public, were enthusiastic, and also it was a popular choice. For NEV companies, their shares were rocketing very high. And I said, indeed, some VCs have given us offers. It was highly sought after with a valuation of about $10 billion. Just imagine, we've done nothing yet, but we were valued at $10 billion, and to be financed by others to make cars, it's like zero risk for Xiaomi. Who could reject it? So to be honest, we had been moved, but after some thorough thinking, we rejected the offering. Why? Because it's a long cycle of car making. If we took the investment of others, and it may took us a very long time to come to the same page, which was almost impossible. Besides, to make cars within Xiaomi alone, we could directly employ our available technologies. And I thought that I know it's a very challenging task. I cannot solely rely on my own, so I must mobilize every staff in Xiaomi with their sole support. I hope that everyone could go all out to the business of car making for us to truly win in this battle. In the end, we decided that we would support ourselves in this business. We financed ourselves and we carry all the risks on our own shoulders. As long as we could make good cars, we were willing to sacrifice everything. On that day, Wang Chuanfu came here, and Li Xiang, He Xiaopeng, Li Bing accompanied them to Xiaomi. I still remember that later on, Wang Chuanfu told me that he truly admired our courage, but still, he was kind of worried about us. That was the story of Xiaomi making cars in the beginning. Without the accidents like sanctions by the USA, we wouldn't rush into the car making business. And there would never be such a Xiaomi SU7 vehicle. So, whatever huge crisis you were wrapped up in, never be intimidated. And the courage to cut off all means of retreat is the key to make breakthroughs. After we made up the mind to make cars, countless other challenges remained. In the car business every year, there was a launch of about 200 to 300 series of new cars. It was a very competitive market, and as a newcomer, the first marketed car truly mattered. What kind of vehicle should we make as the first one? In the beginning, our team has read a lot of reports. We started our study and we wrote hundreds of pages of analysis report, and I couldn't help but throw a wet blanket on them. I said, don't make it too complex. How about we just make a car that's favored by all the Xiaomi engineers? If we don't even want to buy our own vehicle, it's just in vain to produce one to the market. So let's simplify the whole thing. So the next question is, what kind of car is favored by the engineers? Our team was quite professional. Their first instinct was to find an investigation company which would come up with a report after months. And during the discussion, I threw another wet blanket on them. I said that let's just cut it off. Even 100 reports could not replace a face-to-face communication with a real user. We must start right away. I asked all people to talk with the engineers one by one. In 2 to 3 weeks' time, we interviewed 300 engineers in Xiaomi. After the talks, we thought it wasn't enough. So, our team ran to the parking spaces of Xiaomi office buildings and saw with their naked eyes about what vehicles are driven by the staff. I know it's a very simple choice, but it's simple but effective. Very quickly, we learn about the price range, the types of vehicles, and the brands bought by them. For example, it's like half and half between the sedans and SUVs. From the R&D perspective, it's easy to produce the SUVs, but not the small vehicles, small cars. So, most of the manufacturers started from SUV manufacturing, but I took a different opinion. We decided to take a different path. We started from making the most difficult vehicle, that is the purely EV car, and then it would be much easier to turn to other vehicles. We determined to develop PEV. China boasts a very mature industrial chain. It's pretty easy to make a car. 3 years ago, many friends approached me saying that you were already a latecomer, just find an OEM to produce it. Never do this all on your own. For the starters, we agreed. We thought about acquisition and OEM partnership, but then after a while, we made another decision to start from the core technologies. We didn't want to take a shortcut. Why? Because we've had our hard lessons before. 14 years ago, when we started up our business, we had a model innovation, a lightweight model. We grew very fast in the beginning, but then, because we were not deeply rooted, we encountered many setbacks. Even today, I think we are still filling the loophole. So, when we decided to start up another new business segment, we didn't want to go to the shortcuts. No acquisition, no OEM. We would love to make a very good car. When we made up our mind, we took solid steps to invest on it. For motors, we have 3 generations, and for die casting, we have 2 sets of die casting equipment. For smart auto driving, we have purely visual system and lidar system. We did the same thing with many core technologies. Allow me to share with you our story of the battery pack. People may think that a battery pack is a simple thing, but not so much. It took us like dozens of months to make such a battery pack with tens of millions of investment. So for the manufacturers to produce a car, usually they prepare like 2 to 3 battery packs for one car. But do you know how many we have for SU7? We had a dozen of battery packs. Moreover, to get a clear idea about battery pack, we even established our own battery pack factory of our own. Our team had a tough time, and our suppliers were also introduced into this turmoil. I called the CATL CEO, Mr. Zhen, to explain why it was so troublesome, and he said he totally understood. He once produced a battery for company A, and for just one cell phone in A company, which required maybe just one plan for the battery. But indeed, they developed 200 different battery cells. In the end, only one of them was used. So he said he totally understood. Only with so much efforts can we truly produce a good product. Just like that,
从核心技术出发，
we started
10倍投入
from the core technologies
我
with
们的
10
项目
times
一
of
开始
investment.
我们就启
From
动
the
了核心
beginning
技
of
术
our
的研发
project, we kicked off
就
the
这样呢
R&D on the core
我们
technologies.
悉心带月
And time after time,
干了大半年，
we worked like
到
a
了
horse
2021年
intensely
年
for
底
half an
春节
hour.
前
And
第一次
before the
项
Spring
目的
Festival
正式评审会开
3
始，
years ago, the first time
大家都挺
project
激动
review
结果呢这个
was
会开下来，
inaugurated. We were
开得特别郁
excited.
闷，
But after this
大家的
meeting,
分歧特别大，
we had a lot of disagreements.
吵来吵去呢，最后呢下决
We
心呢，
argued against each other
整个
for
产品
long,
方案
and
呢
in
最
the
好重
end,
干。
we decided to start all over.
春节期间呢，我觉得
During
大家
that
的
Spring
春节都过
Festival,
得不好，都特别
we
焦虑，
had
我
bad
们的项目
time.
进度怎么办？
We were anxious about the
春节后
timetable of
上班的
this
第一天，
project, and on the
我
first
取
day
消了
after the
所有
Spring
的日
Festival,
程，
I canceled all my
把我
schedules.
们汽车部最核心的10几个人
And I gathered
全部抓
the
过来
core
开会
members of the
商量
team of the
怎么解
vehicle for a meeting to think about how to start all over.
就这么一个临时召集的会，
For such a
谁也没
temporary
有想到
meeting,
一开的
it
整
never
整
occurred to us
21
that
天
it lasted for 21 days.
开成了一个马拉松式的会议。
It was a marathon.
刚开始大家还比较矜持，
At first,
第二天真
we
的
were
就开始了，
reserved
越来
and
越激
restrained,
烈。
but starting from the
有时候一个
second
问
day,
题能
we
从
had
早上9
bitter
点吵
and
到
bitter
晚上9
fights.
点。
Sometimes we argued from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for
在这个
just
争论
one
的
small
过程
issue.
中，我就下了决心。
And during the debate,
我们的团
I
队
decided
什
again
么时候吵明白
that
了，我们就什么时
whenever
候上
our
会。
team
我们就一
was
直
crystal
开
clear
到吵
about
明
the
白为止。
situation, would we dismiss the meeting?
其实，当时我们的团队1000多人，
We
大
had
家都
about
在等我们这
1,000
个会
people
议
in
的
the
结果。
team waiting for the results of this
我们就是
meeting.
在进度压力巨大的时候，
Under the huge pressure
我们把所有的事
of
情放下来
timetable,
先吵清楚。
we put aside everything
今
else
天回想这
to
个会对
argue
我们
about
很
this
重要，
topic.
因
So the
为
meeting was
我们来
paramount
自于五
to
湖
us
四海，不同的
because
背景。
the team members came from different places,
第一次有
different
如此
backgrounds.
长时
It was the
间
first
高
time
密
for
度
us
面对
to
面的
spend
讨
so
论，
much time to
帮助
have
了大
high
家
density
相
of
互了
debate
解，
face to
相
face.
互融合。
During the meeting,
这
we
21天的
had
会，我
better
总结下
understanding
来，
of
我觉得
each
形成
other,
了一个
and
最
we
最
came
最
closer
重
to
要的
one
共
another.
识。
So the
就是
most important
小米作为一个
consensus of
新
that
来者，
21 days of debate
只
was
要
that
能
as a
顺利上台
newcomer,
桌，就是
as
巨
long
大的
as
成功。
Xiaomi could make it to the card table, it was already
很多人
a
问我
success
说
for
你
us.
们3年为什
So
么把
many
车
people
造出
asked
来？
us,
最关键
why
就是这句
could
话
you make a
就是
car
小米
in
造
3
车
years'
要
time?
尊
The
重
key
行
is
业
that
规律，
we
守正
observe
要
the
先
market
守正
rules.
再出奇。
It
不
comes
要一
first
上来
to
就
abide by
颠
the
覆，
rules.
一
We
上来
shouldn't
就宣
think
布。
about making disruptions from the beginning.
所以，基于这21天的会议，
So, on top of the
我们
discussion during the
这10来个人
21 days,
就
the
成了真
dozen
正
of
的
people
战
in
友，
our team
可以背靠背
became
信任，
comrades in arms.
才能
We
应
trust
对
each
之后
each
的
other and we give our
无数
back
的
to
考
one
验。
another. That's why we could withstand
谁也没想到
numberless
春节
tasks
开了
ahead
21
of
天的
us.
会，春节后开了21天的会，
So we never thought about
会议一结
a
束，
meeting that could last
考
for
验来得这么
21 days
之快。
after the Spring Festival.
上海疫情爆发，
And after that meeting,
我们有不少
a
工程
test
师
came
在
to
上海。
us out of
我们研发怎么办
expectation.
呢？
The COVID-19 hit Shanghai.
大家
Many of our
手提肩
engineers
扛，
were in
把
Shanghai.
能
What
扛回
about
去的设备
R&D?
全部扛回了家，
They
在
carried
家
all
里
their
做研
equipment
发。
back home to do the R&D work.
有一位同学，
One of our
他就这样
colleagues,
把设备搬回家
took
以后，
his
在
devices
家里
home.
搭了一套工作环境。
and this is his workstation at
我
home.
们的超级电机的控制
Our
软件，
supermotor
就
control
是在他家
software
的客厅里第一次真正
was
运转起来的。
operated for the first time in the living room of his house.
这是一段非常非常难忘的奇特的经历
It。was a
我
memorable
们相
experience
隔
for
如
us.
此的遥远，
We were
却
separated
又
by
感受
geographical
到
distance,
如
but
此的紧密。
we felt so close to
我
one
记得
another.
苏七的
I
很
still
多很多
remember
产品决
that
策，
many
就
of
是
the
在各
product
种各样的
decisions
视频
about
会议
SU
中
7
完成
were
的。
made in such webinars.
我们甚至在这个期间还办了几
During that
次
time,
线上
we
的庆
even
生会。
held several online parties to celebrate our
当我们
success.
遇到阶段性的成果
Whenever
的时
we
候，
had stage
哎，
by stage achievements. We just deliver the red wines to the homes of all the colleagues, and we had cloud party, wine party.
Well, it is the spirit of revolutionary romanticism that helps us to conquer different difficulties. The project is processing steadily as planned. And then, on August 16, 2023, the first try produced was slowly launched. On site, everyone was so excited. After twists and turns, Xiaomi Su7 has been delivered as scheduled, which is really a miracle. I believe that to make this miracle, it is all because about the efforts of 7,000 people of the whole team. I think we are a great team. Well, it's out of the performance than our expectation. I still remember after the ceremony, all the people went back home. Alone, I circled the tri-produce again and again, alone. And finally, I opened the car door and sit for a very long time. I couldn't believe that we really make the car. For that moment, I was quite emotional. In this regard, we can say that we chose to make the hardest pure EV, and we chose to start with the underlying code technology, and we chose to have a 21-day meeting at the busiest time. And take a lot of courage and determination, because we know that only by insisting on doing the right thing and the difficult thing can we go further, and our Xiaomi EV can be truly successful. In the past 3 years, personally, I have been thinking that to know about cars, I love cars, and then we got a chance to make good cars. And personally, I think the first step for us to build a car is that we need to drive by ourselves. To tell you the truth, about 10 years ago, because of my busy schedule, the company assigned me a full-time driver. And then I didn't drive much myself. From the day I decided to build a car, I made up mind to drive by myself. Getting back on the road, I was like a green hand. Quite hurry-scurry. It took me several days to get used to that. At that time, I asked my driver to sit on the front passenger seat, and my colleagues joked to him, "Well, you have the great honor to have your boss driving for you personally." Since for Xiaomi EV department, we have many veterans, and they have been working in this industry for the whole life, and they have been driving different kinds of types, and they know many things about cars. I was stressed out, and I have been thinking, I may need to fill this gap as soon as possible. I need to test drive enough cars and to fill the gap. So first, I borrowed all my friends' cars. And then I borrowed the cars from our colleagues. In 1 or 2 months, I borrowed them all. Why is that? I found that everyone buys similar models. Later on, I decided that I need to go to the four stores of various brands for a test drive. Every time, for fear of being recognized, I wore a hat and sunglasses. I thought I was fully armed, but it's useless. I was recognized as soon as I went. It's quite embarrassing. Later, I came up with another good idea. I went around in company's parking lot in Xiaomi. When I saw a car that I didn't driven, I asked my personal assistant to borrow it boldly. Then my assistant would put a note on the car. Many colleagues would be surprised when they see the note, and they call me to check whether it's true or not. When I borrow the cars, I like to chat with the owner. Usually, I ask 3 questions. The first question: what do you think is good and bad about this car? And why did you buy this car in the first place? If you buy another one, what are you going to buy? And I usually write them down. Then I drove it seriously for another 1 or 2 days. Then it's not over. Online, I would check all the information related to this vehicle and to see the reviews of the users, then wrote it down again. Then I fully understand about all the information of this vehicle. After that, I washed the car, filled it up, and returned it to the owner. Before I knew it, over the past 3 years, I had driven a total of 170 cars. I see many of my colleagues down there. I borrowed cars previously from you. Thank you so much. A few days ago, I sorted out notes and materials, and there were over 200,000 words of information. I took it seriously to fill the gap. And meanwhile, I also read the biographies of these car giants. And I even watched all the racing movies I watched when I was a kid. Previously, I used to see the fun, but now I really look at the cars. After watching those movies, I was quite impressive. Then I found out that it makes sense that the competitors are doing well, since the bosses of these competitors are all racing drivers. Then I thought by myself, so maybe I can make a small goal by myself. So can I be one of the best drivers among bosses of domestic car companies? Just be one of them. I just want to be modest. I even wondered if I could drive a race car as well. At first, I think this idea was far-fetched. It was a bit dangerous to drive race cars. And people usually start racing cars in their teens. So do young people like me still have the chance to drive a race car? I thought about it for a long time and finally decided to try. If you want to drive a race car, we have to get a racing license, right? I got the racing license in the summertime. I don't know whether you know about racing, as we know that usually racing cars have to be modified for weight reduction. Everything that can be removed from the car was removed, and AC is also removed. For the summertime in Beijing, is about 30 or 40 degrees, and inside the car is about 60 or 70 degrees, which is very hot. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see the pictures of me when I was learning to drive. While we wore the racing suits made of fire-resistant materials, with such a big helmet, and the sports seat gave us a good sense of road condition, but it's terribly hard. People may don't understand why these seats are so hard for this kind of vehicles because it can give us a good sense of road condition. You can sense even the rocks on the track.
是吧？那些性能车， 座椅都
For
很硬。
example, the
还有
performance cars
我们
always
的
have
安全
very
带
hard
可是
seats.
6项安全带
And
啊，
the six-way
在
safety
开车的时候都
belt
是往死
is
里勒的，勒得你
extremely
会有
tight,
点痛。
and you feel quite
像这么
uncomfortable.
全副武装在车上坐好的时候，是不
Well,
是看起来很帅？
After all
实际上
the
非常的不
armed,
舒服。
you can see it's quite
非常不舒服。
handsome, but it's actually very
几十圈
uncomfortable.
跑下
After
来，
dozens of
全
laps,
身湿透，
my whole body
就像
was
洗了一次
soaked,
桑拿。
and I felt like I was
反正
in
每次休息的时候，我都觉得
prostration.
像虚脱了似的。而且呢，
Moreover,
新手学赛车啊，一不小心就冲出
and
了赛
as
道，
a
一不小
greenhand,
心
and we often hit the protective wall
而且
or
呢
brushed out.
很容易就撞上了那个防护
It's very
墙，
easy for us to hit
脑
the
司机管
protective
叫上
wall.
墙。
And there's a
哎，所以
term
开赛车那
called
个每一个
hitting
墙
the
上过没有
protective wall.
是吧？每一个墙上好几
And
遍，
we
你这个
feel
赛车才能
quite
开到。
proud if we hit the
我觉得呀，我
protective
们
wall.
平时开车撞一次车是天
Usually,
大的事
we
情，
know that it's a
但
big
是一
deal
旦开赛
to
车
hit a car while driving.
哎，
However,
就稀
when
疏
we
平常。
drive the race car, it's just
而
a
且
normal
呢，
thing.
赛车是没有保险的啊。
And there's
被
no
撞了的话，
insurance
只
for
能自认
racing
倒霉
cars.
自己修车啊。无论是你
And
撞别人还
each
是
goes back,
被
and
撞
if you
啊，
get
都
hit,
是
you
各
should
修各
consider
的
yourself
车。
unlucky. So once
好，
we
我让
got
大家
hit,
看
we
一看
just
啊
go back home
反
and
正我
fix
们
our
每次
cars
有
by
同事撞
ourselves.
了，都挺激动啊。
Every time we feel quite
因为
thrilled
平时
when we
大家
hit
开
the
车都
wall,
很小心，
because
是吧？
previously we
基
were
本上
so
都很认
careful
真。
when we
但是
driving.
在赛场上是
But
经常出
in the
现的。
track, we often hit the wall.
所以说到这里的话呢，
In
赛
this
车的话呢，
regard,
看起来很危险，
it seems like quite
实际上呢也不安全啊。
dangerous to race and is indeed
但
unsafe.
是这里我要提醒大家，就
And
是我
here I
们
would
开
like to
赛车的时候
remind
一
you
定要
that
注意
when
安全。
we drive the
最
race
重要的
car,
是
we
你的
need to pay
赛车
attention to
一定要
safety.
经过改装，
And
要
your
改
cars
刹
must be
车、轮
modified,
胎，
and
甚
we
至我们
need
改了
to
安全
modify
座
the
椅，
brakes, the
甚至
seats,
装了防
as well
滚架。
as the
而且
harness, and
只要
even
你
installed a
遵
roll
守
cage.
规则的话，我
If
觉
you
得安
abide
全
by
系数还是
rules
很
and
高的。
followed professional
所以呢，
guidance,
这是
the
我在
safety
学赛
factor
道
is
时
still quite high.
教练就反复要求的，就是
So
一定要遵
the
守规
trainer
则。
has told
你
us
的车
several
不
times that
能
we
拿一
need to
般的
abide
民
by
用
the
车去跑赛
rules.
道。反正我考赛照的时候是这么要求
So
的啊。
that is the rules
为了把赛车
when I
学好
attend the
呢，
test. In
我还
order
买了一个很高级的
to
7轴
practice,
模
I
拟
also
器，
bought a 7
是吧？在家偷
axis
偷练，
simulator and practice secretly at
吃
home.
了不少苦，最后呢，
I suffered a
我
lot
终于拿到了赛照。
But I got a license successfully.
我呢，不仅仅自己练啊，我逼着小米
While I
的
learned by myself,
是吧
I also
团队
encourage our
也去练。
Xiaomi team
我
to
们的
do
管理
that.
团队和工程师
Well,
超过
our
了100人
management team,
拿
as
到
well
了
as
赛
the
照。
engineers, in total 100 persons
因为我
got the
相信
race license because
因为
I
我
firmly
相信
believe that
一支真心热爱汽车的团
a
队
team that
才
truly
能
loves
真正把
cars,
车
we
做
have
好。
the
你
ability
们
to
同意
make
吗？
cars well. Do you agree?
当然啊，我现在开车呢，是吧？在赛车
Of
手里面
course,
是业余中的业余啊
I'm。still a
但是为了提高
green
水平，我们
hand
经常
among
内部
all
还
the
举办各
races,
种比赛。
and we also organize
然后大家
internal
看看我们比赛的视
competitions.
频录像啊。
We'll also share with
那个
you
前
a
面那
video
辆车就是
clip.
我啊，
The car in front is
前面
mine,
过一个 U 型
The
弯
car，
你看我切弯
trying
的速
to
度都很标
overtake
准
me，when
咣，这
it
辆车把我
knocked
就
me
撞出
out
去了。
during the U-shaped turn.
可笑的是，这个同学呢，第二圈
Ridiculously, for the second
又在
lap,
同一个弯，
in the same
哎呦
place, same corner,
哎呦，他都是这么走的，又是个 U 型弯，咣，
is
又撞了
also
一
the
下。
U-shaped turn. It knocked me out
哎呀，反
again.
正这个我就这么被撞了2次，修
I
车就
was
修了
hit
2
for
万5。
2 times and cost a lot of
这个
money to fix the cars.
我觉得呢，这个玩赛车以后，
Well,
我对车的认知，我觉得进了一
when
大
I
步。
practice
因为之
racing,
前自己开车，
I
我
have
从
better
来没有
understanding
开过地板
towards
油、
racing.
地板刹，就是一脚踩死。
previously I have never
油门踩死。
experienced floor
遇到刹
brake
车的时候也是一
and
脚
floor
踩死。
oil.
而且我也不知道什么叫转
And I
向
didn't
精准，什
know
么叫
that
操
how
控，
to
什么叫
make
指哪打
turns
哪。
and
开完
how
赛
to
车以
have
后全明白。
precisions.
后来
And
才发
after
现这个车跟
watching,
车差距真的
and I
大
really
极了。
know about
车
the
跟车
secrets.
差距非常非常之大。
Therefore, I know more about the human-car harmony. Therefore, I think after learning my racing license, I really learned a lot. It was very helpful. And for every part of the R&D process, I can get involved personally. At the end of 2022, our prototype car started the winter test. It was in Heihe. It was minus 34 degrees outside, very cold. This is the very first major test to Xiaomi SU7, and I attached great importance to it, and the management team and I were there. The person responsible for the winter test was very surprised to see me. He said he was in this business for 20 years. This is the first time for a chairman of a car company to be part of the winter test, the very first time. And at dinner, he also asked the restaurant to add another dish because the chairman was here. The second year, I also participated in the summer test in Turpan. You know, summer in Turpan, the temperature was so high as 50 degrees outside. Think about it, your car under the sunshine. If you put it outside for the entire noon, can you imagine how hot it is? Some cars inside, the temperature can be 90 degrees. So when I get off the car, I thought sunblock was very important for SU7 because that can help us lower the temperature by like more than 10 degrees compared with other cars. Summer test was also difficult, but we also had wonderful memories. I can still remember the watermelon in Turpan. You know, watermelons in Turpan, they are big and sweet. Usually one watermelon is about 20 kilo. They taste good and they are super cheap. Usually the price is counted by kilos. You know how much is 1 kilo in Turpan? It is 5 cents per kilo. And our team in Turpan, they told me that now the price is even cheaper, 3 cents per kilo. So for a 20-kilo watermelon, it only costs you like 3 RMB. It is so cheap, and I even carried 4 to 5 watermelons back to Beijing, and I have to pay a lot. Because you need to pay the extra in order to get them transported to Beijing. Moreover, because this is the first time for Xiaomi to build cars, so quality is paramount for us. In January this year, we also organized the largest road test in the industry. We used 576 prototype cars and tested in 300 cities. On all the roads, and the total testing mileage is over 5.4 million kilometers. I think you have seen our testing fleet this year, so the coverage is wide, and this is the largest road test in the industry. And some people online say that whether Xiaomi EV is good or not, it is all about whether the executives of Xiaomi have the balls to drive it, because that was still the prototype cars. So, do you have enough courage to drive it? An engineer saw this message and posted this message in our group chat and at me. I understand what he means. Then, quietly, I forward this message to our group chat for the executives and at everybody in it. All the executives of Xiaomi immediately responded to this, and they all participated in the road test. And they want to use themselves to prove the reliability of SU7. So all the executives of Xiaomi, before the launch of SU7, tested SU7 for 100,000 kilometers, and I participated in over 10 tests and drove for about 5,000 kilometers. And what I can still remember the most is in January this year, from Beijing to Shanghai, from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., 15 hours, I drove alone, and I drove 1,267 kilometers. I never thought I could drive alone for such a long distance. So thinking about this, at first, our PR colleagues don't allow me to do this. They're not worried about SU7, they're worried about me. They said, Mr. Lei, if you had an accident on the road, it will certainly become a PR crisis for us. So as I drove, their eyes are all on me. They are even more nervous and anxious than me. But the whole thing was a success. And to drive on the highway plus our smart driving system, I think the experience was wonderful for me. And I was also surprised by the test because, in winter and on the highway, the range of Xiaomi SU7 is very reliable, and I was very confident about it. It is because of our investment and dedication to battery technology, so Xiaomi SU7 can have such a wonderful performance in terms of range. So far, I've relearned how to drive, I learned how to race, I participated in the winter test, the summer test, and also the long-distance tests. All of these seems very easy and simple, but what I feel is that courage is never a slogan. It is each and every step you take. Do you agree with me? At this point, people online in the past few months have asked me to show them my drifting skill, and I remembered in one live stream I said that I know how to drift, and after that people urged me to show them my drifting skills, and I really can drift, but I'm not very good at it. If I show you this video, I believe many experts will criticize my drifting skills. Since it has been a long time and so many people have urged me, so I recorded this video to show you my drifting skills. It is not very good, just to show you. And don't watch it frame by frame, just for fun, okay? And it looks very cool. Let me show you this. My performance of drifting. Thank you very much. Thank you. So because of this exciting project, I have to thank the accident 3 years ago. This is why I can join such an interesting industry. So this is how we worked so hard for 3 years in the process of R&D, and we have been very low-key, and we didn't do any communication or publicity. So anything you saw at that time, it was only a leakage. We didn't do any publicity. And last December, it was the first debut of Xiaomi EV. And many people thought it was all of a sudden. It was like groundbreaking. Therefore, at first, it was a hit. It was so popular. But a few days later, number of questions, slanders, and criticisms. Very often, people said that your competitors cannot do it in 10 years. How can Xiaomi do it in 3 years? This is a very difficult question for me to answer. How would I know why my competitors cannot do it in 10 years? Why don't you ask other people how many years does it take to really develop their cars? I think this industry is mature, and 3 years is just a standard time for you to develop a car. So we have seen so many criticism online, and our competitors are also making jokes of us, and they made fun of us. And there was a saying online, I think you have all heard of it, Mr. Lei, stop.
外面都是叉叉。大家看到过吧？
You have seen this, right?
我觉得这些呢都是小事。
I think none of these are
我觉得真正的
important.
困难是。
The real difficulty is that we have dedicated everything to SU7, and it took 7,000 people, and it took countless hours to develop SU7 because we need to keep it confidential before the launch. And 2 to 3 months before the launch, when we talk with our friends, everybody believes that the sales won't be good. I told them that our configuration and our experience are way better than our competitors. But they told me that the buyers of other products, they are fans of Elon Musk. They won't buy SU7. Then I asked maybe for 34C, which represent BMW 3 Series, Audi A4L, and Mercedes C-Class, their users need to upgrade, right? They want to buy a high-end smart vehicle, right? You know, 34C represent BMW 3 Series, Audi A4L, and Mercedes C-Class. They are actually the entry-level products of BBA. So I thought maybe the user of 34C, they need to upgrade their car to a smarter EV at a similar price. Only the product is better. And several departments wrote me 3 reports. Each report was about dozens of pages, and after I read all of them, there is only one conclusion. So those users, they only buy brand, and why should they buy SU7? And I don't know how to answer this question. Moreover, the sunblock features and also the good-looking design we made for the female users, they say the female users will not buy a performance car. Then what now? We spent 3 years, we dedicated over 10 billion to develop this car. However, the sales won't be good, and we can't sell it. Then I asked the marketing team to invite some media friends to help us. We invited 23 media friends to help us. And I never thought that most of them still don't think we can sell this car very well. And they believe we will be very fortunate if we can sell 3,000 SU7. This is the conclusion they had, and I think they were very honest, but I don't agree, so I try to persuade them. Of course, they know this industry very well, and they are more experienced than me, so I talked for 2 to 3 hours, and I couldn't even talk more, but still, this won't change their conclusion. And this made me very desperate. The entire team was caught by anxiety. I don't know if you still remember, maybe in March this year, many people say that I look very pale.
And there were several photos of me looking pale online. I was really frustrated at that moment. And just then, I was hit by a car that I tested. It was a car of my colleague, and I borrowed it for days to have test drive. It's a Ford Mustang. It's a 400,000 RMB yuan of performance vehicle, and that colleague told me that that was his dream car. He worked for 10 years' time, and he saved some money only to buy that dream car as a bonus to him. And according to him, every morning when he got on board the car to go to work, and he slammed on the oil, and he felt invigorated. And every night, coming home, he preferred to stay in his car for a while before going upstairs. I could still remember his words and how shocked I was listening to him. I do believe that we deserve a bonus, and that's the significance of a dream car. An SU7 was just designed for such dream seekers. I am convinced that people's aspiration for dream car is real. And I also believe that with 3 years of efforts of our whole team would return. And I'm also convinced in the charm of SU7. So no matter how many people thought low of SU7, I remain confident about the big sales of SU7.
好，其实真正考验我的信心是
And
今年2月份。
the real test came to me in February this year when I was pushed to decide on the capacity of production. It was a complex issue with a very long supply chain, and we have to decide how big should be the order. Some people recommended 30,000, which was a conservative idea. I had dilemma. If it's set too high, I'm worried about the sales, and if it's too low target, people may complain that it's just a hunger marketing. I remember that I was interviewed by CCTV talking about this dilemma of setting the order target. And in the end, my confidence enabled me to make a decision. So take a guess. What's the target in the beginning of this year? 76,000. What did it mean? If we exclude the uphill time, the monthly sales was 10,000, and there was only one competitor in terms of that absolute number. So we ranked among the top 2 in the beginning. What if we fail to sell? You may have no idea for the EVs. You may think that my factory is pretty big, but that factory could only accommodate 3 days of inventory. Just imagine how big is a factory that can accommodate 1,000 vehicles. If you have 10,000 cars as inventories, it would be just piled up all over the factory. And that's quite a disaster if we fail. And I realized how crazy a target was to be set at 76,000, but we had no step back. We were crossing the river. All we could do is to charge ahead. With that anxiety, we were so close to the launch time. In mid-March, before the presser, we had the only one interview with the media for test drives, and the media friends got in contact with SU7 for the first time, and they had a different idea about us. Some of the media friends said that it's unimaginable that this is the first car produced by Xiaomi. It has such a high rate of completion with high value added, and it looked classy. And according to them, Xiaomi must have some talented people behind it. Listening to their comments, I was finally relieved. But the next big challenge is pricing.
价格定错了，后果不堪
With
设想。
wrong pricing, there would
上
be
百亿的损失，
catastrophes. There might be tens of billions of losses, and 3 years' time were just badly
因为
spent.
新能源汽车跟纯电
But
池
for
是两个概念啊。
NEVs, it's a
新能源汽车
completely
包括了增程
different
式，包
car
括了插混，
because
这些
NEV
车
includes
是吧？
EREV or
是油电混合的。
PHEV
纯
or
电
even
车成本
hybrid.
很
But
高，
for
除
PEV,
了特斯
it's
拉，
very
几乎所有纯
costly,
电车都在巨额亏损。
except just one
所以
competitor,
合
maybe
理
the
定价，我
other
们的业务才能持续成
competitors
长。
of
超低
PEV
价
had a
只
loss
是以增
altogether.
值可。
So if we set the
当时网
price
上
too
有
low,
谣
it's
传
just
说
a temporary
售价定多少？14万
expedient.
九。
Some rumor
甚
went
至有人说
online
9万
that
九。
we may set our price at like
太离谱了，你这不捣乱
149,000
吗？
or even 99,000. That's just misleading.
当然，更大的
Of
压
course
力来自于我们内部。
Bigger pressure comes from inside.
我们销售的同学们都是
Our
老板，是很有
salespeople
经验，
Were
他
old
们对
hands.
于纯电轿车
They were
一致信
experienced
心
and
严重不足。
still they lacked confidence in PEVs.
在发布会的前一天，
One day before the
我
presser,
们最后的价格决策会，
in our discussion of pricing,
但争论
which
非常非常激
lasted
烈。
not long, but witnessed
我呢
fierce
认为
arguments.
我们的
I
初期
held
配置
that
体验远超 Model 3
SU7 configuration and
我觉得我们要有
experience
勇气定
could
到
rival
26
our
万。
competitors. I think we
这
shall
个
be
已经比
brave
Model
to
3
set the
便宜
price
3
at
万。我觉得竞争力已经非常强
215,900,
大。
which was already 30,000
销售的
cheaper
同学
than
们
our
还是
competitor.
非
But
常
still,
担忧。
our salespeople
我
were
讲完以后，
worried.
整个会场一片寂
After
静，
my talk, all the
我真的很
people
无助，
in the conference
一
were
片寂静。
silent. I felt helpless,
直到现场
among
的
the
一位高
silence.
管说：“就定这
and
个
it
价
was
吧，
broken by
无
one
论卖多
executive.
少
He
辆，
said that
我们小米
just
都认了。”
said it. No matter how many we sell, we would just take it.
3月28号
On
发布会
March the 29th, which was the time
我极
of
度的紧
the
张，
launch,
嗓子沙
I
哑，
was nervous, and
就
my
像
throat
10年
was sore
寒窗苦读
when
的
I
学
stepped
生
on the stage.
终于参加高
It
考。
felt like going for the
我在
Gaokao
台上大概
examination
讲了8
after
个多小
10
时，
years of hard work.
才一步一步放松
And
下。
I didn't get relaxed
讲
until
到
I talked for 30 minutes on the
初期
stage.
为谁做的时候，
When I shared
3年来
who was the
压在我内
target
心的很多
consumer
很
of
多话
SU7,
脱口而出。
a lot of words that were
我说，
buried
苏
in
琪就是为
my
这样
heart
一
for
群人
3
做
years'
的。
time were
他们不
burst
甘
out.
于平庸，
For
还
this
在为
group
梦
of
想奋斗。
consumers,
他们
they
向往先
didn't
进
want
的
to take
科技，
mediocrity, and
渴
they're
望
still
幸福
fighting
的
for their
生活。
dreams. They have
他们
flames in
心
their
中有
heart
火，
and
眼里
lights
有
in
光，
their
浑
eyes.
身都
They
闪耀
aspire
着
for
乐
high
观与
technology,
自信的
and they are
光芒。
shining with confidence and optimism.
当我公布定价，
When I announced the
现场
price,
的观众一片欢呼，
applause
我心里踏实
sounded
了
on the site,
小米苏七应该
and
成。
I felt relieved. I think we made it
发
for
布会后呢，我接
SU7.
受媒体采
After
访
that，launch, I took some media
一个
interviews.
同事非常激动地跑进来告诉我，
One of our colleagues dashed
4分钟
inside
破1
to
万
tell me excitedly that
27分钟
within 4
后
minutes' time, we exceeded 10,000,
那一刹
and
那，
within 27 minutes,
仿佛一切
the
都
order
如此
went
美
up
好。
to 50,000.
3年来所有的痛
Everything
苦
looked
委屈
romantic. All the
不便理
grievances,
解
misunderstandings
全部
in
烟
3
消
years'
云散
time disappeared.
而且同事告诉我，
And he
有
also
很
told
多
me
很多的用户
that many users,
没有试驾过苏七，
without
甚至
any
没
test
有
drive
见到过车，
or
就
even
直接预定了。
a glimpse at our car, booked it.
而且呢，有一个朋友讲了一位米粉的故事，
A friend shared
更让
with me
我
about
特
the
别特别
story
的
of
感动。
Xiaomi fans. I was moved.
这位米粉呢，叫申丽丽，
His name
39
was
岁，
Shen Lili,
是
a
川大数学
39-year-old
学院的一
professor
位教
of
授。
math school of Sichuan University.
他是米粉，
He was our follower, and he's been supportive of Xiaomi for years. 3 years ago, when Xiaomi announced our decision to manufacture cars, he thought it was the critical moment of Xiaomi, and he must step up to support us. And instantly, he bought a parking space in his neighborhood to save it for Xiaomi vehicle.
他就在发布会当晚第一时间
On the
下
night
了订单。
of our launch, he placed his order. And finally, the empty parking space left there for 3 years' time waited for the moment of SU7. So you could imagine the confidence given to Xiaomi by our fans.
各位，我们再看一
So
下
dear all,
手车
let's
仪
take
式。
another look at
当我
this
弯腰
ceremony.
为车主开
When I
车门的
bowed
时
to
候，
open the
这是
gate
对
for the
日本朋
owner
友们发
of
自
the car,
肺腑的感激。
I was truly grateful to our fans.
这个无意之举呢，在网上火
That move
就成了
was
前
popular
一
online.
CEO
The
开
headline
车门的
went,
段子。
the
后来
CEO
搞得
opened
车
the
企老板
gate
们都要
for the
去开车门
consumer. And many other car manufacturers prefer to
到了
open the
北
gate
京
for
车
their
展，
consumers later.
我就成
And
了
when
别
it
人
came
眼
to
里
the
的营销之
Auto
神，
China, I
行
became
走
the
的
marketing
流量
god. And even
说
the
以前车
traffic
展
on the
看车
move.
模，现在车展
People
看
joked
CEO 啊
that previously in the Beijing Auto Show, they looked at the showgirls,
我
but
知道。
now they are looking at the bosses.
这
So I
全部
know
来自于小
that
米
all
速七
this
巨大的
came
成
from
功
the
和
great
一
success
眼万年的魅力。
and charm of SU7.
在苏七的巨大的成功下，在
On that
所有
basis
合作伙伴的共同努力下，
And with the joint efforts
月份
of all our partners,
我们发布了
May
新的交付目标。
we
年底我们保
readjusted
底
our
交10万
delivery
辆，
goal. By the
力
end of
争
this year,
12
the
万辆。
bottom is 100,000, and we would aim higher at 120,000.
其实这个目标，因为我们4月份才开始上市，只有
Since we just
9个
got
月的时
marketed
间
in
要
April,
赶
that
12万
left
辆
us only
再加
9
爬
months
坡。
to catch up
这对我
in order
们
to aim
这
at
对整个小米汽车的供
120,000.
应链的所有
For
合作伙
the
伴都是一个巨
entire
大的挑战。
supply chain, all the partners
这
of
就是我
Xiaomi
们
included,
对
it was a huge challenge,
米粉朋友们的承诺。
but it was our commitment to
小
the
米速
Xiaomi
七
followers.
首战告捷，
The
这
first
意味着
battle
小米汽车
was a
终
victory
于挤
because
上
of
了台桌
SU7, and Xiaomi
但
finally
我们
made
离
it to the
真
card
正的成功
table.
还差很
But
远。
we still have a long
我
way
们的
to
长
go
征
before we
才
realize bigger
刚
victory,
刚
and our
开始。
long march just got off to a start.
过去的3年，
The past
对于我
3 years,
对于小
for
米
me and for
都是一
Xiaomi,
段脱胎换骨的经历。
was a process
小米
of
速七
reshuffling.
成功的背后，
Xiaomi SU7's
凝聚着
success
巨大的勇气。
was the result
这不是某一个人的勇气，
courage.
这是我们小米集团
It's not
4
the
万多
courage
名
of
员工
one person,
共同
but
的勇
rather
气。
that of 40,000 colleagues.
勇气并非没有恐惧，
Courage
而
doesn't
是面
mean
对恐惧
it
的时
has
候
no
依
fear,
然
but
坚
rather
定
in
不移。
front of fear, we
勇
remain
气来自于
unflinching.
坚定的信念
And、
奔涌不息
courage
的热
comes
情
from，firm
还有
confidence,
每一步
the
的
burning
脚踏实地。
enthusiasm, and every solid step we
勇
make
气就是
Courage
人类最
is
伟大
the
的
greatest
战歌
hymn。of mankind.
朋友们，
Dear
愿你任何时候都
I
拥
hope
有
that
勇
anytime
往
in
直
your
前的
life you
决
could
心
always
和披荆斩棘的
harness
勇气。
that decision to march forward and to blaze a
今
new
年我们的
trail.
年度演讲呢就到这里
So that's
结束了。
about our
大家呢
annual
休息一会儿
speech. You would
下半场新品
have
发
a
布会
short break,
马上
and
就来
the。second
好，
session
待
of
会儿
our
见。
new products launch
今
will
天我
come
接到
very
邀
soon.
请，来到
See you
北京
then.
亦庄小米汽车工厂，带大家看一看小米是如何造车的。这可能是我见过的最大的汽车工厂了，整个园区相当于故宫的面积，每隔76秒就有一台新车从这里开出来。小米速七就是诞生在这里。如果你要问小米汽车工厂和其他的汽车工厂有什么不一样，看 这就是小米自主研发的钢铁巨兽，9100吨的小米超级大压铸机群。什么叫做超级大压铸？我给大家简单打个比方，假设我的2只手就是模具，模具将会以9100吨的压力紧紧合在一起，随后注入液态金属，高速压铸成型。等它凝固之后，模具打开，一块小米汽车一体压铸的厚底板就出来了。整个过程也就100秒左右。
我们小米要做好车，就必须要掌握核心科技，所以我们小米自己干。这个一体化压铸的最大的优势，它是将传统的70多个零件一次性压铸成型，减少了800多个焊点，从而将这个整车的性能和钢具的结构得到很大提升，重量减少了17%，
更扎实耐用了。生产完的这个汽车厚地板怎么保证它的质量呢？就靠这个 AI 质检、X 光压铸件检测流程。实际上啊，就跟我们在医院体检拍胸片一样，有没有内伤一眼就能看出来，速度比人工快几十倍，准确率还能达到99.9%以上。检测过后的一体压铸厚地板和其他冲压完成的零件，都会被送到这个车身车间来进行组装。我在这儿已经逛了半天了，除了机器人还是机器人，这车间里几乎都看不到人。看这个机械臂工作特别治愈，我从这当中好像都看出了舞蹈的美感。你看这位，一边唱歌一边干活。季厂长您好，
邵老师您好。
我刚才在咱们这个车间里面转了半天了，一路走过来，基本上看不到工人。
因为我们小米造车的过程当中应用了大量的自动化的技术，我们是把所有的连接的技术都交给了我们的机器人来完成。这里面包括我们的焊接、铆接，还有胶接。
就包括这里面所有的这些焊点。
对的。那么其次呢，在生产的过程当中，我们也100%应用了自动化的这种监控的技术，来确保我们整个车身的这个品质，可以实现中型零件、大型零件100%的自动化的上线。在条件具备的情况之下，我们可以实现24小时的连续的自动化生产。
所以自动化、智能化，再加上先进的车身连接技术，
对的，
这样的车啊，质量差不了。从车身车间出来的白车身，经过涂装车间喷漆之后，在总装车间安装上小米自研的 CTB 电池。除了电池，还有前后挡风玻璃、方向盘、座椅、电机，这些都会在总装车间完成装配。这样，一辆崭新的小米汽车就要迫不及待地与您见面了。
我们来试一下弹射起步，走！
哇！我天！我这哇！这汽车还是火箭？这绝对是 F1。柏油路面上的最高速，
贴地飞行的，
贴地飞行。
每一台车都需要在这里经过这样的测试，
所以这个对于车架、悬挂、车胎都是考验。季厂长，您这给我带哪儿来了？这还是厂里吗？我怎么觉得像是在一个冷库里？
因为电动车呢，大家最关心的一个问题之一啊，实际上就是它的续航。
冬季，
尤其是冬季的续航。
对，极寒条件下。
那么现在我们所处的位置呢，是在我们工厂里面的整车环境模拟实验室。这个温度模拟了在黑河、在雅克什，基本上在冬季的温度。
我说我怎么感觉到耳冰了呢？所以我知道现在测试的相当于是极限工况下小米的续航能力。
对的，在这种低温的环境之下，首先我们的充电速度，同级的产品里面我们要快20%左右。那么同时我们在冬季的续航里程，在行业里面也处于一流的水平。像这样的实验室呢，在我们工厂一共有29个，所以我们讲我们小米的汽车工厂是产研深度融合的一个智能化的工厂。
我跟你讲啊，也就小米扛得住，我扛不住了，撤。逛了一天小米汽车工厂，我最大的感受就是小米造车的底气，自主建厂，并且在关键步骤上自主研发。正是这种创新的定力 和对品质的极高追求，成就了小米汽车的底气和原动力。我相信，小米以及其他科技企业的加入，将会给中国汽车产业带来全新的变革和活力，用新质生产力去引领新能源汽车的产业浪潮。
Welcome back. Now we will start the second session. And please give me a warm applause. Thank you. Today we have prepared many stunning products. First, we're going to release 2 foldable flagships, a large one and a small one. And first, let's release the large foldable flagship. And this is the first generation of the large foldable mobiles, which is quite stunning. Now let's look at a video clip. Well, last year, the reputation of Fold 3 was really good. For the very first time, we achieved both thin, light, and all-round flagship in one machine. And this year, we do better. First of all, we developed top all-round flagship, and meanwhile, we make it the top level. Besides, we want to make it the lightest and thinnest within the industry. Now let's have a look. As a large model and how light it can be. Well, it's lighter. It only has 226 grams. It has surpassed all the other foldable flagships. It becomes thinner at just 4.59 millimeters when unfolded, and just a little bit thicker than the SIM card slot. And when we fold it, it's only 9.47 millimeters. It also surpasses many flagship foldable machines. In this regard, I'd like to share with you that the hand feel is excellent. Well, it's out of your imagination. It's comparable to that of the flat display flagships. Why is that? First of all, it features quad curved display. And meanwhile, it is equipped with the quad curved back and the curved metal frame. Equipped with so many different technologies, it only has 0.9 millimeters. It feels so amazing that when you hold it, and you even forgot that this is a foldable mobile. By saying this way, you may not understand. I strongly recommend you to our stores to have a look and feel it within your hand. And we also invite many people to feel it blindly, and the majority of people believe that for this large foldable, and its hand feel is better than that of the flat screen ones.
右边更轻一点，
咱这个比较轻，
右边这个比较轻，
差不多呀。
这个轻不关系。
右边更轻一点。
这是苹果 iPhone
我挺喜欢 iPhone 这种方方正正的感觉。
我喜欢轻的，我喜欢那种的。
右边的话，相对于轻选右边。
右手边的手感更顺滑一点。好熟悉的触感。
Well, 62% of the people believe that it has a better hand feel. So for such a complex foldable machine, to make it so thin and light is a complex thing. And it needs a series of technological innovation.
I'd like to share with you several points. Well, first of all, is about the proprietary hinge. It is the core device. Well, we have our proprietary hinge, which has been upgraded to the second generation this year. Well, it uses the most advanced 3-element connecting rod structure. Last year, we have already made it so thin. And this year, we make breakthroughs and narrow it, and it becomes more precise. Now let's have a look. The first element narrowed 8%, 28% for the second element, and 26% for the third element. In total, 34% narrowed. So, as you can see, the total number is 34% narrowed, and width has been reduced by 11.7%, weight has been reduced by 16%, and the water drop arch has reduced by 15%. So it becomes more precise compared with the last generation. So how precise it is? As you can see, and the diameter is only 1.8 millimeters, and just like half of the rise, and it has 12 clients, and the area is less than 0.01 millimeters. With such a precision that we can generate the best hinge. And it also adopts the 1800 ampere high-strength steel, with very high stability. And the proportion of the high-strength steel accounted for 82.6%. How strong is the strength of the hinge? Well, this is 2.0 generation of proprietary hinge. It is quite thin and it's reliable, and it can shoulder about 500,000 times of folding. We have a test to see the pressure. Have you seen it? When it comes to the 59 kilometers, it has been crushed, and our hinge is still perfect. Well, our hinge is small and reliable, and second, it's about the whole carbon architecture. Do you know more about it? Well, it refers to the carbon fiber. In order to be strong, and to reduce the weight. And for the first time, we have been using this whole carbon architecture within our mobiles. Well, we have been using the T800H high-strength carbon fiber. Well, its strength has reached 5,500 ampere, and impact resistance has been increased by 300%. With such advanced materials, and we made it. We have achieved 100% carbon fiber of the hinge plate, as well as the screen lining and the middle frame battery compartment. With so many carbon fibers, it's quite thin and has extremely high strength. So what about the level of the strength? How strong it is? Let's take a look at the test. Well, within the 1.5 meters of the extreme testing, well, it's still perfect without any harm. Isn't that amazing? And for the first time, we adopted the whole carbon architecture, which is quite expensive, but it has its own advantages. It's quite light and it has very strong architecture. Besides, well, it is a system when we have the stacked design, and we need to carry out a lot of innovation. Another example is about the motherboard. Well, we have very precise motherboard. Let's have a look. This is second generation, the third generation, and this is the new one we are going to release tonight. As you can see, we have more components. However, we have light size of the motherboards. It only accounts 80% of the previous one. Within such a small motherboards, we have been using so many different, in total 2,500 components. And we also have 857 of the ultra miniature components.
So how did we do it? Let's take a look. So layer by layer, we stack the motherboard. It is like we made a 5-story building on the motherboard, 3 motherboards and a 5-faceted design. And this is the most advanced design for the motherboard. In such a light and a slim foldable display with extreme stacking. We also support 50 watts wireless charging, and this is the first time for us to use IPX8 on a foldable display. Therefore, when we make it lighter and slimmer, we have done a series of technological innovation. Let's take a look at a video to see the technological innovation we have made on this foldable display. Wow, it is incredible. So we can say this is the best performance among all the foldable displays. Maybe you are also curious how such a slim and lightweight smartphone can become a top configuration all-round flagship. Let's take a look at the display, because the core of the foldable display are the 2 displays on it. The outer display is a standard flagship flat screen, and the inner display is a foldable 7.98-inch display. So the outer display is like a flagship flat screen, and the inner display is the size of an iPad mini. So compared with a flagship flat screen, the cost of this foldable display is 7 to 8 times. So these 2 displays are the most expensive, and these 2 displays are top-notch. First, the outer display. It is a quad curved display. We also used the Xiaomi Shield glass to protect it. Therefore, its drop resistance is better. For the inner display, it is a Polaris Plus display. It is a super low energy consumption display. We also used the UTG glass to protect it. Now, some competitors are still using the CPI. But when you use the phone for a long time, you can see the crease on it. So both of them are the top-notch displays in the industry. For this display, they both have 418 ppi, 3000 nit peak brightness, 1 to 120 Hz adaptive refresh rate. They both have PWM and DC dimmings, and they are also professional true color displays. So they are the top-notch displays. At the same time, it has the best performance. We're using the most advanced Qualcomm processor. This is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Its LPDDR and UFS are the best. It also supports Wi-Fi 7. It also has a massive VC cooling. In addition, we also have 4 self-developed Surge T1 signal amplification chipsets. Its cellular performance is improved by 58%, and Wi-Fi Bluetooth performance is improved by 16%. As a top-notch flagship, it supports two-way satellite communication. Moreover, it is also suitable to use it when you're abroad. We now support 180 countries, and we also support over 500 operators. In addition, when you arrive in a different country, we also provide you with 300 megabytes traffic for free. And also the biggest challenge for a foldable display is the battery life. When we design this phone, our goal is to make it have the best DOU. So how good is our battery life? In such a slim foldable display, it is powered by a 5100 mAh battery. We now use a more advanced Xiaomi Surge battery, so it has a 5100 mAh battery. It is 300 mAh more than the last edition. And the last edition is thicker than this edition. It only has 4800 mAh, but this one slimmer but 5100 mAh. It supports 67-watt turbocharging and 50-watt wireless charging. In addition to the Xiaomi Surge battery, what are the other technological innovations? Let me mention another one for you, which is very important. We used Xiaomi stacked cell battery in it. First of all, let me tell you, stacked cell battery, what does it mean? Usually, the traditional battery is in the form of a cubic, but this time, in order to maximize our use of the inside space, we make it a atypical form like this. Secondly, in the past, in order to improve the production efficiency, usually the batteries are winded, but there are still spaces at the corners. But this time, we make it a layered battery technology, so we can maximize the use of the space. Therefore, you can have an additional 260 mAh battery. Therefore, we are actually pursuing the extreme technology. In addition, our battery management system has 4 Xiaomi self-developed Surge chipsets. On the basis of G1 and P2, we used another R1 chipset to improve the charging and discharging efficiency. Therefore, we have done a series of optimization. The DOU, it first comes with the battery. Secondly is our comprehensive technological capability. With a series of technology, the overall energy use of this phone goes down by another 13.5%. Especially we used a energy-saving display. We can save a lot of energy compared with our competitors. Let's compare it with a competitor. You see, its battery is more or less the same with Fold 4, but you can see the DOU. We are 51 minutes longer in terms of DOU. We are 51 minutes longer than our competitor. So when this Fold 4 is launched, I would love to invite our media friends to test it. You will be surprised. Now let's move on to image. Many people are curious. In such a slim foldable display, will the image capability be discounted? For many competitors, actually, their imaging system is not as good. So now let's take a look. So quad camera across all focal lengths. This is the only foldable display that maintains the quad camera across all focal lengths. For many competitors, because of the pressure, they have 3 cameras. And for all focal lengths, they are all large apertures. In addition, we also have a 5 times periscopic telephoto lens. incredible, isn't it?
还有，我们是双长焦。
Furthermore, we have a dual telephoto. We also have a 2x telephoto with floating focus lens. You can use it to take macro shooting. So the shortest focal length is only focus length is only 9 centimeters, and all cameras are Leica optical lens Sumilux. With all this, this is a much flagship imaging system. Let's take a look at some example pictures. This is the ultra wide angle. And this is the main camera in dim lights. And this is the portrait using the 2x telephoto camera. And this is the 5x periscopic lens. It is a picture of the flyboard. It is very cool, but I don't know how to do it. And you can also use the 5x periscopic lens to shoot close up. I will not elaborate on all of them, but I am very confident to say that this time the mixed fold 4 is definitely the best in terms of imaging capability and performance. It is boosted by Xiaomi Hyper OS. This time we paid close attention to software adaptation. For the top 500 applications, we have high quality adaptation. And our definition is that for high quality adaptation, it must support full screen parallel windows. You can also rotate to horizontal screens. So this time we have high quality adaptation, and we also support over 100 document formats. And you can also use the Apple Office apps. If you want to use the inner display, it is very easy, and you can also use it for video conference because you can fold the display. And if you use it for entertainment, you can use it to watch videos. And with a foldable display, you can also use the simultaneous interpretation function. When you talk with foreigner, the outer display will show the local language and the inner display will show the Chinese. We support 12 languages now, so when you travel abroad, it will be very easy for you. So this is the top configuration all-around flagship, affordable display that is slimmer and lighter. And we have did several technological leapfrog, and also the reliability is greatly improved. It comes in black, white, and blue. And this is a bright and highly saturated blue, very beautiful. Last year, we launched the Xiaomi Composite Fiber Edition. It was warmly recognized by the market. This year, the material is further upgraded. The strength goes up by 42%. It is 25% stronger, and the impact resistance goes up by 15%, making your phone stronger and durable. And the patterns are finer and more delicate and exquisite. Therefore, this year, we also have the Xiaomi Composite Fiber Edition. So this is the Xiaomi Mix Fold 4. It looks very good, and also the experience is wonderful. Let's take a look at some pictures. It is very lightweighted, and the white is also very beautiful. The inner display Hyper OS can gives you a wonderful experience. You can hold it easily in your hand. For such a top configuration all-round flagship, for such a slimmer and lighter foldable display, how much is it? Let's look at the last edition. Compared with the last edition, our battery is 5100 mAh. We have IPX8. We also have two-way satellite communication. Also, the processor and others, they are all upgraded. And compared with the last edition, you see how light and how slim it is. It is incredible. And also, we invested a lot in it. For example, the full carbon structure, the Xiaomi proprietary Hench 2.0, and also the triple-layer penta-faceted motherboard design. All of them requires a lot of investment. So for such a top-notch flagship foldable display, honestly speaking, I don't know how to describe it. How much is it? Same with the last edition.
这个是非常非常超值的一款手机。
This is a very cost-effective smartphone, value for money. It comes in 3 editions. 16 plus 12, 9,999, 16 gigabyte plus 1 TB, 10,999. So this is the Xiaomi Mix Fold 4. Now let's move on to the Xiaomi Mix Flip. Flip phones, I don't think they are easy to use. So after 3 years of hard efforts, we believe Xiaomi Mix Flip can radically resolve the pain points in the user experience, and we want to reverse people's impression of Flip as a good for nothing. After using Mix Flip, I hope people will say this is a good for everything. So now let's take a look. First, it is good looking.
For flip phone, the appearance comes first, and then let's see if it's user-friendly. Fiber braiding and unique 3D patterns. Fiber braiding, just like the girl's handbag. And also, we have 2 top configuration flagship screens. One is 2 top configuration flagship screens. One is 4-inch, the other 4-inch, the other. For the 2 displays, they are both 1.5K. For the 2 displays, they are both 1.5K with high DPI, with the same material DPI, with the same material for brightness, and they were used together with very good brightness. And they were used together with very good user experience. The outer screen is also adopting the shield glass. The outer screen is also adopting the shield glass. The inner display adopts the UTG ultra thin flexible glass. So it's very durable. 2 top configurations. Just like the Fold, Flip can also endure 500,000 folds. I've used flips before. People complain about the trouble of unfolding it. So could it be used without flipping it? For the outer screen, usually it looks like a watch for the users to check the messages. It's like useless. So we are wondering, could we still use it to the greatest degree without flipping it open? So another good news for Flip is that it's a very user-friendly flip cell phone without opening it. You may not believe me when I say it. It's just like a powder box size. How could we use it to the full without opening it? We once designed a plan for the Flip. It's a 4-inch display without any camera on it in the beginning, but I denied it because I thought without the camera, the video conferencing or selfies could not be taken. So we said no, and we must put on the camera. But the next question is, for such a small-sized display to have cameras, it looks weird. That's an issue of software adaptability. That's why Android and Fold have the same pain point of software adaptability. So how did we solve it? We came up with a very smart solution. Let's take a closer look. We have a display area. It's a 3.5. It's 16:9 classic ratio, and basically all the software, all the apps could be accommodated. You might be wondering, 3.5 inch, is that enough? But never forget that our competitors' cell phone used to have the exact same size. So a 3.5 inch flip cell phone is very unique, and we can be adaptable to 2 cameras and a display area. All the apps could be used and displayed. For example, we can accommodate 200 most frequently used apps like TikTok and the Redbook, Bilibili, or any music apps. They're all fine. Another edge is with only 3.5 inch of display, our input is all displayed. We can support 26 letters or the quick dials, just like your usual cell phones. So, commonplace input box, while the display is only 3.5 inch. That's a good idea, right? And also we have the smart widgets, the multifunctional widgets, focus notification, and others. Basically, all the spaces are made for use of. Another question that hit you might be, when we close the flip, we cannot call somebody. We could only listen to the speaker because of the position. So we had another idea. We had the special receiver and mic for the flips. You don't need to flip it open in order to call someone. It could be daily used cell phone without opening it. We invited a female racing car driver called Tiedou to test if this flip could be used for one whole day without opening it.
Hello， 大家好，我是赛车手铁豆。我今天呢收到了一个特别的任务，挑战不打开小米 Mix Flip， 仅用外屏使用一整天，这可能吗？今天小爱同学来首音乐，
准备出发。
你好，一杯冰美式。我们今天的任务呢是要完成新轮胎的测试。太闷了，今天气温已经到36度了，地表温度大概在50度左右。今天真的太热了，感觉轮胎损耗的特别快。好嘞，好嘞，拜拜。来拍摄一下今天的训练打卡照，我帮你拍吧。不用，后置我自己也能看见，而且后置的徕卡镜头像素更高也更清晰。OK， 上车，我们出第2节。因为个子小、体力差，被太多人质疑过我开赛车的可能性。但热爱会引领我击破所有困难，打败所有偏见。就像被很多人不太看好的小折叠，如今仅用外屏，也几乎满足了我所有的日常需求。现在呢是下午的5点42分，我们结束了一整天用外屏的挑战，甚至它电量还有42%，所以说我们今天可以说挑战成功。
真的很神奇。
Very magical. I used it for months, and I still have like 40% battery left after one whole day of usage. That's a magical experience. You take just a powder box every day with you, and it looks cute. This time, our team has some new innovation. It's about the adorable pet wallpapers on the outer screen. Take a look. What is it? Capybara. And I heard that in the zoos, this animal is very popular right now. I asked why, because it has very steady motion control. More adorable pets to be chosen. Very cute. You can click it and interact with it. For flip cell phones to be good, it must be beautiful and user-friendly, and also some flagship-level functionalities and experience. For the other flip peers, they don't take the flip cell phone as flagship product. They use the previous generations of chips without the most advanced process, easily heated with poor experience. Now look at ours. We adopt the cutting-edge processor, the third generation Snapdragon 8 with the best internal storage, and also the 3D 500 square mm. I didn't buy it in the beginning. I asked for a test report, but after reading the report, I was astonished. Playing games compared to our competitors with full maximum frame rate, the hit level is lower than our competitors, so better gaming experience. In terms of DOU, we can play like 2 more hours of games with 1.5 hour more of TV experience. We also invited the media friends to do some tests with very good reviews on the details. You might be more concerned with image photography because we have a lot of female users of Flip, so they're very interested in the photography function. Many Flip cameras were undermined, so people might question you. You have such a thin cell phone. How can you have very good camera performance? With dual cameras, both of them are 50 MP lens. The main camera has 800 sensors and ultra-high dynamic range and OIS optical performance, and also telephoto with a large aperture. We adopted Sumi-Lux lens from Leica. Not one camera is expedient. So this is a snapshot by the main camera with a lot more details. This is 2x telephoto with high-quality image. To add some more information, for the 2x lens, we can support floating focal length, and we also enable the macro photography. What's good about it? For many girls using the Flip, they can use it to shoot their pets, very clear views. This is the official expression of a cat. And according to their feedback, it's also a good choice to take photos of their makeup or their earrings. So it's very good choice for the close-ups. And also, it's a good choice for video taking. Besides, as a Flip cell phone, there might be a lot more new experience generated. It supports 45-degree to 120-degree of hover photography. So you could take photos from the floor to have longer legs in your photos, but not usable for me because I don't need it with long legs. And also you could take photos from up to have a smaller face in the photo. And you don't need a tripod to take photos. Especially outdoors, it can be handy to take photos. Very convenient to carry. And also, it's suitable for vlog because of its small size. It looks like a small portable DV. And the key is when you take videos, it has the beautifying functionality. Very cool for the girls. So that's what we bring to you, the flagship Flip. I hope that this product could reverse your impression of Flip as a cell phone good for nothing. Do you think it suffices? So some key points: good appearance, large outer screen, flagship and Leica image. This Flip is very strong because it's a flagship Flip, with no undermining performance, with the strongest processor and the 2 good displays and a lot more cutting-edge technologies mounting on it.
So what is the price? 5,999. Well, what about the price? I think it's quite reasonable. And let's look at the competitor's price. It can only purchase the basic model, our competitive one. It only includes 128GB. So for this flip, it's more fashionable and has more fun. We can take good quality pictures and we can use it in different ways. And it can help us to have longer DOU, so you can consider whether you should buy one of the mixed flip. We have 3 versions. As you can see, we have different prices: 5,999, 6,499, and 7,299. And we also designed 2 things. As you can see, this is the customizable ring case. You can hang it within our hand. And inside there are 4 cards. You can change it every day. Without changing the ring case, you can only change the cards inside. And meanwhile, we also designed the instant camera kit. If you connect with your phones and to turn on the instant camera mode, and you can print the photos as you shoot in a very quick manner. When you go outside, it looks great when you carry it out. The whole kit is $499. And if you're interested in it, you can order it online. Well, these are the 2 affordable mobiles we have prepared for you. Isn't that great? I'm not only the CEO of the Xiaomi Group, but also the CEO of the automobile department. And we also offer special benefit for our owner of the SU7. We can give you another 2,000 credits in additional. And both phones are produced from the Xiaomi's mobile smart factory. In the earlier of this year, and we opened our automobile factory in Yizhuang, Beijing, and today, and I would like to introduce to you about the Xiaomi mobile smart factory in Changping, Beijing, which just being completed and put into production. It has many features of this factory I'd like to briefly introduce to you. This is the new generation of the mobile phone smart factory with a total investment of 2.4 billion, 81,000 square meters, and an output of 10 million flagship mobiles. It's a national benchmark enterprise for intelligent manufacturing. And one thing I feel quite proud, it has very high level of intelligence and has the production line equipment of the core process all self-innovated. Our self-innovated rate is about 96.8%. Since starting from the year 2017, we worked within the smart manufacturing, and to today, it took us 7 years to build such a factory. How we achieved this? Let me share with you more information. Well, it's quite complex to produce the mobile phones. We have different parts from different suppliers. We always joke that it was produced by different countries, actually. Several years ago, we decided to use the modular ways for designing the equipment into 3 categories. And we deposed all the work content into modules with unified size and unified structures. For example, and we have the standard ones, and we have 2 sizes for the production line, and just like building blocks. For each equipment can use the modified ways to assemble. If you want to change the process, you can only achieve it as long as you change the relevant module. For example, if we have machine for screws up, and we don't need to change the motherboard, and we just need to change the module. If you have more chance, I will share with you more information later. And this factory is quite stunning. Well, it realized digitalization of all elements, and in total, there are 64,000 data collection points. Every day it collects 17 pieces of data. And we can also use the AI technology to view the content of the device in real time. Let me share with you a video clip to see the Xiaomi modern factory in Changping, Beijing. Sorry, it's the
这是一座
smartphone.
从数字中孵化的工厂，全要素数据采集， 全5G 高速连接，全数字化高精建模。智能蔓延在这里的每个角落。工厂里的上千台设备，创新自研模块化设计，更换单元，瞬切工艺，宛如搭积木般便利。一条产线搭建只需1天。在这里，一部手机诞生只需6秒。在这里，1年将出品1000万台旗舰手机。我们正在以新智生产力，点亮智能制造的新灯塔。新一代小米手机智能工厂。
随着这2座现代化的工厂。
After these 2 motor factories were put into operation, netizens have called me the president of the automobile factory. I really like this title. Thank you. Next is the annual new release products of the Redmi. It's the annual flagship.
Redmi 呢，这个卢总已经交给我们王腾总了啊。
Well, it's already handled. It has been responsible by our specific staff. Last year, we released the K60 Ultra and was well received by the market. And this year, together with the MediaTek, and we won the war within the market. Today, together with the MediaTek, we are going to release the K70 Ultra.
大家知道啊。
As we all know that Redmi want to make the best performing Android phone. For the K70 Ultra, well, it is the dual chipset flagship, and it can be the performance king. So how powerful is its performance? Well, first, it adopts the most advanced MediaTek Dimensity 9300 Plus chipset. And meanwhile, it had also used the customized the independent graphic chip, which is 12 nanometers, which is the most advanced among all the company's graphics chips. And meanwhile, Redmi also adopts the Wildboost 3.0 generation. Combined with those technologies, well, it can be the dual chipset, the dual powerful ones. And meanwhile, it's full-core performance chip and with the frequency of up to 3.4 GHz. It is the most powerful processor. Second, we have innovated the 3D liquid cooling technology. It has a concave and convex design. While it has been as close as to the processor, the temperature surface on the processor can be reduced by 3 degrees. So in this way, we can give more room to the performance. And the Antutu score of the K70 is about, as you can see, 2 million. It's quite stunning in terms of the score, in terms of the media testing, and we are highly valued. And we are the performance king. Now, let's look at the video. Well, people speak really high about it. Now let's take a look. For the last generation, it was well received by the market. Compared with the last generation, it has been greatly upgraded. Let me provide you 3 examples. First, well, within the extreme image quality, if we play for the Honkai Star Rail game, for the K70 Ultra, is power consumption is the same, but it has higher frame rate and it's more smooth. And second test, well, within the 1.5K super resolution and 120 Hz co-concurrency, so what is the result? You may find that for the new K70 Ultra, it has better image and lower power consumption, and it can achieve the concurrency for 2 hours. So what about more extreme situation when the temperature reaches 30 degrees outside? If we play for the heavy load mode for 1 hour, well, for the K70 Ultra is still flagship. And for this K70 Ultra, it has very good design. It's good looking with good textures. Let's have a look. Well, we provide 3 colors. Black, white, and light blue. And we have the metal frame. But for this price, counterparts seldom use that. Well, we also have the quad curve glass, which is rare used by the competitors. In terms of the display, it's 1.5K flat screen, and we also have the ultra narrow quad curved display. As you can see, it's quite good looking. And meanwhile, it also adapts to Xiaomi Shield glass and has very strong ability to combine with the SOAR materials. And meanwhile, we also used Xiaomi Eye Care mode. Well, this is the K70 Ultra. No matter for the outside appearance or the quality, it has been greatly upgraded. And we can provide you excellent experience. What about the image? It has been using the Sony IMX906, and it has the OIS. And for the very first time, it has been using the AI large model shooting platform. It has been upgraded in 3 aspects. Well, first is the quick shooting 2.0. And second, and it has a very high precision and has wide balance, more accurate, and also have the dual focal lens portrait. As you can see, the whole image system has been upgraded greatly. And what about DOU? Well, the battery is about 5,500 mAh, and it also has 120 watts fast charging. It has the longest DOU among all the Xiaomi mobiles. You can charge to the maximum degree in 24 minutes.
It's supposed 2 meters waterproof. So this year, the K70 Ultra, how much is it? This year, after Wang Teng took position as the manager of Redmi, he's under a lot of pressure because for Redmi, we want to pursue extreme price for value for money. But this year, the value for money is greatly challenged. When we mentioned the price of previous products, I didn't mention this. This year, the components for storage and the flash components, their price went up by 85% and even 100%. Therefore, we're under a lot of cost pressure. In order to make K70 Ultra great, we have done so many upgrades. We upgrade to 5500 mAh battery. We have the metal frame and also the Xiaomi Shield glass. With so many upgrades, plus the higher cost of storage and flash components, Wang Teng approached me and Lu Teng several times. Honestly, we have a lot of pressure when we price it, but in the end, after thinking about it repeatedly, for such a flagship phone with this configuration, if it's $29.99, we're still losing money. Last edition was $25.99, but in order to support Wang Teng, the price will still be $25.99 RMB. I hope the users of Redmi, you can also support Wang Teng. It comes in with 4 editions, 12 plus 256, 12 plus 512, 16 plus 512, and 16 plus 1 TB, which is 35.99 RMB. I used this phone for some time. The performance is great. For a smartphone over 2,000 RMB, you can still feel its high quality. You see the metal frame, the all-around liquid display, and the 3-color body, the Xiaomi shield glass, and 2-meter IP68. If this phone is 4,000 or 5,000, this is normal, but it is over 2,000. I have to tell you, it is undefeated for phones at the same level. So I hope that users of Redmi, you can show your support to Wang Teng. And this is the very first product when he became manager of Redmi. He's under a lot of pressure. This time, Redmi once again work with Lamborghini. Let me present you the K70 Ultra Champion Edition. Its design inspiration comes from this racing car. You can see its appearance is very recognizable. We also use this 2-color design with 24 processes. We perfectly restored this color design. Let's look at the details. You see the Y-shaped line and also the orange color, as well as the bright metal decal, plus the classic logo of Lamborghini. All of them are restored at the back of your phone, so you can see a lot of tension on your phone design. Moreover, we also customized the wallpaper and theme for this phone. It comes in with 2 colors. We have green and also orange. They are both very beautiful. We also have a short video about the appearance of these K70 Ultra Championship Edition. It's really cool. I really recommend this phone to the fans of Xiaomi and the Lamborghini. It has a 12 GB plus 1 TB and is priced at 39.99 RMB. So these are the 3 new launched our new corporate strategy, Human Car Home Smart Ecosystem. After the launch, the Human Car Home Smart Ecosystem has been completed. Just now, we're going to launch 3 wearable devices. These 3 wearables, they all look very beautiful, and their performance and their experience